3, 2, and 1. Yeah, 1 minute.
We have Craft Village as our organization, as you all must be knowing. So we are trying to cross-post this on Craft Village also, because we have lovely audience over there who would like to hear all of you, all the esteemed guests. And Somesh is kind of helping us to connect to India Craft Week and Craft Village page both. So kindly cooperate. Yes, so I welcome you all to the first digital preview of India Craft Week. I would like to welcome Dr. Ghada Hijjawi-Qaddumi, President, World Craft Council Asia Pacific Region. Dr. Ghada, it's been an honor and privilege to have you once again with India Craft Week. You have been our very eminent supporter, our mentor, our guide, who has always guided us how to take craft in a very contemporary manner ahead. And it's so fabulous that you could join us once again. I would like to welcome Barbara Wickham, Director, British Council. Barbara, it's so nice to have you here and to have this lovely association with British Council. And in such a short notice, British Council India has supported Craft Village and India Craft Week and this initiative. I'm wholeheartedly very thankful to you for joining us in this great cause. I would also like to thank Jonathan Kennedy, Director, Arts and Culture, British Council. Jonathan, it's so lovely to have you. Thank you so much. We have been talking from few days. Somesh has been in touch with you guys, and the support which British Council and its Art and Culture Department has given us, it's truly commendable. So first of all, a very warm welcome to all of you, and thank you so much from the entire team of India Craft Week and Craft Village and India, all over, and all the craftsmen. I thank all of you for joining us. Dr. Ghada, I would like you to start with your keynote address.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you for inviting me to this digital preview. I would like to start my address with consoling those who have lost loved ones during the coronavirus crisis and say that this invasive dilemma hits us all, though in different degrees. In my capacity as President of Asia Pacific Region, I have to mention that the World Crafts Council was established with the objective to provide a better future to the craftspeople in the world. The members of the organization have been working in this line for more than half a century and designing policies, strategies, and programs in this effect. Asia Pacific region was in the front line in offering aid to those artisans hit by natural disasters such as the earthquake in Nepal, the tsunami in Indonesia, and the bushfire in Australia. In such cases, the damage was restricted to one area in the globe, but with the present prevailing disaster of COVID-19, all the world is suffering from facing this unseen foe. Under the current circumstances of such global dilemma of the COVID-19, I would like to say that despite the gloomy cloud hovering over our heads and permeating our daily lives, and despite the anxiety that many of us feel about personal and family's health and well-being, yet all of us are anxious and looking forward to the time when this pandemic will leave us with the least of loss in peace. But unfortunately, the near future does not look very bright. Yet, with solidarity, determination, and belief in ourselves, together we can take the challenge and plunge into putting an end to its bad repercussions. By working together in these challenging times, preparing ourselves for the post-era of COVID-19, we continue to exercise our potential and to set plans and necessary strategies to bring forward workable ideas to help sustain the survival of the sector so as to come out of the crisis strong enough to build a more fortified, invincible future. We are all in this crisis together and must rally to help those in need. For the time being, we are living the present moment thinking of the basic needs, food and medicine. Yet we have to look at the present situation of this pandemic as an alarming sign to learn from for future planning. We have to see ourselves in post-COVID-19 world and look for several constructive approaches that rescue us from falling into the pit of despair and that befit the foreseen economic relapse. We have to be connected and draw strength from one another in this difficult time. The lockdown gave us time to plan for what will be of value in the time to come and to start thinking of building a more sustainable future. Asia-Pacific region members have been working each in his respective country to do the best he can for the artisans. In the board's last meeting, March 27, 22, the great impact of the crisis on the craftspeople was discussed. Ideas and immediate and practical solutions were shared among the members to help in the lockdown situation. For example, Dr. Kevin Murray from Australia said that in Australia, the World Crafts Council and other organizations are currently looking at offering a portal to assist craftspeople to sell their products online. Mr. Edric Ong from Malaysia suggested to connect with artisans through Skype or WhatsApp, etc., to prepare products for markets when they open. Mr. Aziz Murtazayev from Uzbekistan suggested online training. I am pleased to say that Mr. Indrasan Venkatachalam, who is one of the advisors on the APR board, a renowned figure in the field of crafts who was in charge of the UNESCO Crafts Department for around 30 years, where he had the opportunity to have contacts with many craft sectors around the world. He sent me an email in which he highlighted a number of measures to help the craft sector. He also opened our eyes on negative, harmful disasters that might face the craft sector, one of which is the free circulation of cheap imported products. He also highlighted the harsh impending reality of the economic depression in the post-COVID-19 period, where high-end crafts may take a long time to recover as consumers will have less financial resources. On the other hand, he advised that we should reflect on the following. First, on what the future business of crafts and artisans is to be. Second, what options we have to create. Third, what are the threats we can foresee. Fourth, what are the opportunities in terms of product selection or diversification. 5, and what we can see in the market supply and demand. In this occasion also, I would like to thank Mr. Ashok Chatterjee, a friend of Asia Pacific region, who was kind enough to share his views about the issue and to provide us with information about the initiatives taken by a large number of organizations in India, each addressing the crisis in a different way. Asia Pacific region is proud to say that some of these organizations are members of the Asia Pacific region, namely the Crafts Council of India in Chennai, the Craft Revival Trust and the Asia Heritage Foundation in Delhi, and the Indian Institute of Crafts and Design in Jaipur, and of course, the Craft Village in Delhi, which is organizing this India Craft Week digital definition, in which they gave us the chance to meet virtually to discuss different aspects of the crisis. It is also worthwhile to mention suggestions from members of Asia Pacific region, one of which is that by Ms. Ritu Sethi, director of the Craft Revival Trust, who requested in an email that Asia Pacific region countries contribute in organizing a series of seminars and exhibitions on some common threads that would bring us all together. Usually Asia Pacific region events incorporate exhibitions, seminars, forums, fashion shows, etc. The Asia Pacific region's immediate contribution to the sector will be best initiated at the forthcoming and closest congregational event, that is the Asia Pacific Region General Assembly, to be hopefully held November-December 2020 in Tashkent, Uzbekistan. Through organizing a symposium and exhibition, the General Assembly will definitely act as a campaign for delineating policies to save and sustain the craft sector, as well as a platform to provide aid to the artisans. The symposium will tackle the post-COVID-19 situation of the craftspeople and the crafts sector. Experts in the field of crafts, economists, entrepreneurs, and intellectuals will be invited to express and share their insight on the problems the craft sector will face in the post-coronavirus period, such as the economic depression, the drop in demand for high-end crafts, and the decline in the tourism sector due to the people's refrain from travel and the closed borders of some countries, as well as some other important issues. The exhibition, on the other hand, will inject artisans with energy and high spirit when they look forward to an event that will sell their accumulated products and promote their creative production in such a gloomy situation with livelihood concern and lockdown limitation. The exhibition will give them hope and something to look forward to. An optimistic attitude in such gloomy circumstances is needed to overcome the agony and transcend it. The program will most probably include a special exhibition for creative pieces produced by the artisans during the lockdown period. Having ample time and shortage of raw materials must have urged them to innovate and create outstanding pieces. However, we have to consider a number of measures to be taken in the present and post-COVID period, namely, or such as, for example, to form teams of volunteers to outreach artisans and help in responding to their needs, such as providing them with raw materials. Second, to help those who lack the knowledge of selling their products online by e-commerce. Third, to establish partnerships with entrepreneurs, corporate business, economists, etc. Four, to approach government authorities, which is very important, to convince or put pressure on them to support the crafts sector and acknowledge the craftspeople as art creators. To conclude, I would like to say that by the time we leave the present situation of the coronavirus crisis and enter the post-coronavirus period, our lifestyle, our priorities, and perhaps our attitudes to life will be changed. However, anyway, the whole world will also be changed. Therefore, we have to prepare ourselves for such changes and try to cope with them accordingly. Last but not least, we must pay special homage to all our members and other crafts organizations around the world who are in the front line, and to express our thanks and appreciation to the Craft Village and its supporters for this commendable, innovative endeavor of connecting us all in a virtual meeting. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Barbara, I request you now to give your keynote address as Director, British Council in India.
Good morning, everybody. And I hope the sound is working well.
Yes, yes.
Brilliant. So a very warm welcome to you all tuned in this morning. British Council is really thrilled to be collaborating with India Craft Week and World Craft Council to bring its first ever digital preview directly to your homes. The British Council, with a rich historic and deeply rooted presence in India over the last 70 plus years, has become synonymous with learning, building skills and developing human potential through English teaching, education and the arts in partnership with India. I'm sure you know that we're the UK's international organisation for cultural relations and education opportunities. And this is echoed in our partnership today with India Craft Week as we stand together for creative expression, international exchange, and the enterprise economy in craft and design. Those working in craft are by definition creative and need to be resilient. But like people across the world, the double impact of the pandemic as both a severe health crisis and a severe financial crisis mean that India's creative talent and resilience are being tested to the maximum. And India's Craft Week's digital programme to a global audience is such a strong and positive example of responsive resilience. And I'm sure there are very many more that we'll hear about over the coming days, and actually that Dr. Ghada was talking about just now. It's really heartening to see how sectors across the board have responded to the global pandemic with innovation and digital technology, like the one that's enabling us to gather for the next 3 days, at the core. So perhaps now, in the uncertainty of COVID-19, we're forced to look towards a more sustainable and self-reliant future, just as Dr. Ghada also made reference to, a future that's focused on skills, rooted in the land and natural resources, and craft and design do just that. The disparate craft industries globally represent a $400 billion industry. It's absolutely enormous. But of that pie, India receives just 2%. And of that 2%, with that 2%, provides livelihoods for about 14 million artisans and craftspeople, producing astonishing work of quality in both rural communities and metros across India. And as I said before, 56% of them are women. Our work at the British Council brings in UK collaboration and industry support, and we aim to be part of the long-term resilience and sustainability of the craft sector. Through our global programs, such as Crafting Futures, we're able to support the strengthening of economic, social, and cultural development through learning and access, especially among women and girls. Historically, we know that women's employment in the craft sector at large is often impeded by social attitudes that make it difficult for women to work outside the home. The same attitudes that may also deny girls access to fully engage in education, and a resistance in some communities to women taking on professional roles. Much of British Council's work, especially through our Crafting Futures UK-India grant scheme, enables and empowers women to find creative solutions to improve their livelihoods and those of their families. It does this by supporting women to expand their skills so that they're able to establish new strong roles for themselves within their communities. With mutuality and collaboration at the heart of all our work, we've been able to reach out to the wider community that spans the fields of craft, design, and education. And I'd like to tell you a little bit about one of them. Many of you may have heard of WOW, the Women of the World Festival movement that the British Council partners with. It celebrates women and girls and examines obstacles they face. It provides a platform for women to celebrate their achievements, a platform to come together to break down barriers and shift perceptions about the role and place of women and girls in society across South Asia and beyond. As part of a global movement, WOW festivals bring together a vibrant array of workshops, panel discussions, marketplaces for artisans to sell and promote their wares, as well as involving artists, educationalists, and policymakers from across the UK and South Asia. In 2019, over 55,000 women and girls, boys and men, attended a WOW festival or event across South Asia. Of course, COVID-19 has meant that all of that great face-to-face interaction can no longer happen. But in the same vein, as Dr. Ghada was explaining around the innovations coming out of the recent meeting, it would be great to explore the potential for an online marketplace for artisans. So with all the challenges the pandemic is throwing at societies, the arts and culture sector, like every other, must work to support each other and plan for the future. While the craft sector is being hugely impacted, every crisis is also an opportunity to look at what we can do differently. And for me, as I've said before, the role that women play in the sector is pivotal. They're skilled craftspeople keeping India's rich traditions and heritage alive, while innovating to meet changing tastes and lifestyles. The digital revolution is surely going to gather pace. How can we support and empower women and men working in the craft sector to embrace technology, of course where appropriate, to ensure they remain central in the future craft economy, the lifeblood? What do women need in these fast-changing times? Perhaps better access to education, perhaps entrepreneurship and marketing skills to be better able to make the most of the enormous online market opportunities. We at the British Council very much look forward to being part of that conversation. So a huge thank you to India Craft Week for initiating these important discussions during such a challenging time. And I look forward to tuning in for more sessions over the weekend. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Barbara. It was lovely. I would request Jonathan Kennedy, Director, Arts and Culture of British Council in India, to say a few words and give his keynote address. Over to you, Jonathan.
Thank you very much. And again, a very warm welcome from my home in Delhi. I'm struck by how fitting it is that India Craft Week and with the British Council and the World Craft Council launches on the 1st of May, Labour Day, especially as Barbara has said, the importance of women's valuable role in the craft economy in India. The British Council places empowerment of women at the crux of our craft programme here. And now during the COVID-19 pandemic, perhaps this is more important than ever that we're enabling linkages to ensure livelihoods and sales of product. At our panel on Sunday, we'll be discussing some of our fabulous Crafting Futures projects and how they're adapting in response to COVID-19 to ensure the livelihoods. Desi brings together Khmer Crafts and Fieldworks UK to support revival of indigenous wool for spinning, weaving and hand felting between people in India and Wales. Celebrating clay with Sept University and the British Ceramics Biennale will generate new products with terracotta and collaborate to promote craft tourism with Muslim potters and their families in Kutch. Empowering Through Craft brings together the Swami Sivananda Memorial Institute and Goldsmiths University, together with traditional craft skills and sustainable production processes, modern design, to train women living in Delhi who have moved to Delhi from all over India. In India Craft Week, we'll also be screening some of our films from another of our projects with the extraordinary women weavers of Tripura. Those films we streamed over the course of the 3 days. Last week, with Fashion Revolution, we launched research to focus on gender equity and its impact on cotton farming in India. The research advocates for addressing greater gender equality in cotton farming. According to the research, cotton makes up almost 60% of the textile industry, but women's role as farmers in cotton is often unacknowledged. The UN Food and Agriculture Organization estimates if women had the same access to resources as men in farming, productivity would improve by nearly 20 to 30%, affirming that women's access to resources and opportunity leads to improved livelihoods for everyone. You can download this research from the Fashion Revolution website. Please go there and have a look. India Craft Week and the World Craft Council has lined up some really terrific panelists and masterclasses with artisans at the fore, and I'm very much looking forward to watching them myself over the coming weekend. As Barbara and Dr. Ghada has said, we know during COVID-19 pandemic, this is a really difficult time for the craft sector. But with India Craft Week, the British Council is reaching out across digital frontiers and national boundaries in solidarity with the inspiring craft workers of India and beyond. As we all know, craft culture connects us. And with all that said, I'll hand back to our friends and colleagues at India Craft Week. Thank you.
Thank you, Jonathan, for your lovely address. Now, I myself, as the founder of India Craft Week and Craft Village,